Back at it. All right, this is what track number 7 on the Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon album. We almost finished, man. Last 3. So far, what you think?
Great album.
Great album so far. 100%. 10 out of 10. They said it's one of the top,
one of the best albums all time. It says it's been streaming for 1,000 weeks straight.
Yeah. So we definitely see why.
Yeah. Any color you like. Man.
Crazy.
Go
ahead.
So many different instruments. I have no idea what those was. I'm thinking it's analog synths.
Yeah, for sure.
A guitar in there. Of course, a guitar, but there's some sounds and instruments that I have no idea what they were.
I think like you said, a lot of it was synth. You know, you can put a synth patch on a guitar too. So I think it was a lot of that kind of stuff going on. I think it was very experimental. It's kind of different than everything else we heard on the album.
Yeah.
For sure. Which kind of like, for me, is like probably why it's like any color you like.
Yeah.
It's like we're just, you know, kind of playing around with this new type of sound that we have, that we're finding. Did you visualize anything?
I did. I actually visualized a lot of colors for sure. like just going crazy. Just going crazy like chaos, but very structured, if
Yeah.
that makes sense. Like it sounded like chaos, but it all made sense. It
Mhm.
all sounded cohesive.
Mhm. Yeah. Like purposeful.
Yeah, it was like stacked. It
Yeah.
was stacked, but it's like some instruments was panned right, some was panned left, some straight down the middle.
Mm.
So it had a great overall balance. You
Mm.
know what I mean? Some nice layers to that.
I Towards the end, I was kinda seeing this, like, I guess that there was 3 times, like, that texture changed, kinda. That 3rd texture kinda gave me like a tealish blue. I could see a little bit, like, towards the end. But how that how I heard the entire song, what I visualized during the whole song was kinda like, a painter, like, on this canvas,
Mm.
and, at first it's like, "Okay, what am I finna do?" You know, I got all of these things I can play with, blah, 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 and he's trying stuff, he throwing stuff at it, and then there's yeah, I think the first time the texture changed is like, first he's just putting stuff up there to see what he come out with, and the first time the texture changed, I think he's, like, looking at it and he's like, "This what I'm finna do."
Yeah.
But I need to use something that I don't have.
Mm.
So, like, he had to, like, blend the colors or whatever and something like that, and so you can hear in that guitar, like, see if you can go back to it, like, towards the middle. There was, like, little parts in the guitar which kinda remind me of, like, paint drips. Um, do, like, the middle, like, right, try right there. Right there. Like there would be the drops of paint.
Mm.
And so, like, I guess maybe the way it's falling down the canvas, like, then the 3rd time, like, he's looking at it, and that be the pieces that he's using.
Yeah. Who are the guitarists? Who's ever on the guitar is a bad man.
Hey,
They cold.
crazy. But yeah, that's kind of how I saw it. Yeah, there definitely was, uh, like you said, there's a cohesive unity between, you know, any band,
Yeah.
but with them, that's kind of like, they can take it anywhere,
Anywhere.
you know.
Very confident too in what they're
Mhm.
playing, you know, for sure.
Another one where it's like no notes wasted, no lyrics at all.
No words.
But like I said, I think that it speaks to the brilliance of their musicianship. It's like they're able to, you know, like,
Mhm.
black people always say like they making that thing talk,
For sure.
but they
What's like an emotion that you would equate that song to? If you could choose one emotion.
what emotion
Yeah.
would I contribute to that song? Um, I would say, I don't know if this is an
I
emotion,
mean, not an emotion, but you know,
feeling or something like that.
a setting, anything like that.
I see, like, I just hear curiosity. I hear a lot of just, I would say almost like a setting, like a workbench. This is like
Facts.
a creative. This is somebody that's just, they want just to make something that they feel inspired from. I guess,
Yeah.
like, and it's built straight off of just, okay, I'm going in here to create. Let me see what comes out, and it's like it's something that's led through, I guess, their vision.
Channeled.
Exactly.
What I heard or what I visualized is like being in a dark tunnel and seeing a light. You're not out the light. I mean, you're not out the tunnel, but you can see the light. So it's like a pre-celebration. Because if
Mm,
I heard that, man, that shit would
mm.
sound great, great during a workout.
Oh,
You know what I mean? Like
of course.
the last set,
No, 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 no. And now with that same perspective, that's how that triangle is on the album cover. It does give that tunnel to the light type thing.
Oh, it
And
does.
and wow. Even in I get yeah, like you said, it's almost like a push through. Like if everything else was like dragging through, especially like from the start of it, it's like I want to start, but I can't exactly figure out how I'm gonna, like it's like a drag through the mud type thing. Each section where that texture changes, it does feel like more confident. Like it's like I said, the first time it's like, okay, I see what I'm finna do. And then the third time it changes, like this is what it is.
It's like, hey man, we're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Wow.
But yeah. That's what?
Any color you like.
Any color you like. Next one is Brain Damage on the album.
The lunatic is on the grass. The lunatic is on the grass, remembering games and daisy chains and laughs. Got to keep the loonies on the path. The lunatic is in the hall. The lunatics are in my hall. The paper holds their folded faces to the floor. And every day the paper boy brings more. And if the dam breaks open many years too soon, and if there is no room upon the hill, and if your head explodes with dark forebodings too, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. The lunatic is in my head. The lunatic is in my head. You raise the blade, you make the change, you rearrange me till I'm sane. You lock the door and throw away the key. There's someone in my head, but it's not me. And if the cloud bursts, thunder in your ear, you shout and no one seems to hear. And if the band you're in starts playing different tunes, I'll see you on the dark side.
What you think?
That one was kind of like a confusing one for me.
That one?
Yeah, I at the end, I started to piece some things together, but I was sitting and looking at the lyrics and trying to listen. It was kind of confusing for me, but the way I saw it is it's kind of like that part of the ego death where like you start to recognize yourself in everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the lunatics in the grass, which is for that way, to me seems like an outside experience, like somebody observing someone else. And then with it being in the hall, it's like coming into, which is probably like that hall that's on the album, like that tunnel.
Exactly.
And then when it hits the head, it's like you thought they was crazy. You start to like, it starts to become a piece of you till it is you.
Exactly. Now it's in your head.
Yeah.
So what I got from it, and just from the title, it being called Brain Damage, it's like when you realize like once the whole trip is done, it's about to be over, you're like, damn, I'm the lunatic. That shit was me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like the shit that I'm experiencing in my head and in my world and here and there, it's all me.
Mm.
You know, so it's like a very, very funny way of this, like it's like a very funny song, actually. You know what I mean? To give a little bit of light to the dark. It's like, yeah, it's me. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Brain damage, it's in my head. The
Mm.
lunatic, you know what I mean? The person who's doing this, who's doing that, who's making me depressed,
Mm.
who's assuming, judging, all type of shit, that we face. So that's what, from my perspective,
Wow.
how I would perceive that song. You know what I mean?
No, that's wow. No, that's really good.
You know.
I like that analogy of the lunatic, because like you said, it's the lunatic is something that's acting outwards. It's like you said, it's damaging. It's it's kind of like it's in its own kind of world. Like you said, it's the realization that all of that shit is me. I for a split second, I started to think about it as like maybe brain damage is like deprogramming.
Facts.
It's like
Enlightenment in a sense.
yeah, it's the if the lunatic is it's that point where like you realizing like everything I learned was a lie.
Exactly.
And that whole trash in that
It was
bitch.
me, which is what you see in Ego Death, actually.
Yeah.
And so like the feeling that I get from that, if I'm hearing that for the first time, liberation is the word.
Mm.
Because I have nobody else to blame but myself.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Because now I know it's me. Now I know I'm the lunatic.
And it takes a certain level of liberation to publicly be the lunatic.
Yeah.
To
you know
not
what I mean?
give a fuck.
Yeah, for sure. You know what I mean? But then where I see the liberation from is like, okay, like it's in my power, it's in my control.
Yeah.
It's not because it is, because of that, because it is, like it's all me.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So just from the instrumentation, the way that is where it sits on the album, like towards the very end.
Yeah, second to last.
If I'm in a trip, I'm coming out of the trip. That's exactly how I perceive it. I'll feel liberated hearing that song at the end.
So
it'll be funny.
No, definitely for sure. As I think if I think the whole album is kind of like this kind of journey you take, you know what I'm saying? And like you said, right there at the end, if you get to the end, get close to the realization, that's when it get funny. That's why, you know what I'm saying? Even from the top of the song, it's outside, and then when it becomes him, you can laugh at that shit.
A full reflection is the mirror. You know what I mean?
So in this sense, what do you think that lyric I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
I was thinking about that.
That's fucking me up.
I feel like they went back to the beginning of the album and the album title. This is my perception. And put like, it's like a type of a closing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, like same thing, like, like the same thing as like that's all folks. Like the show is coming to an end. So I'll see you later.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's how I perceive it.
That's okay. I'm with that.
You know what I mean?
I can definitely see that. This is just me looking at reviewing the lyrics. I think and this is just coming to me right now. There's you got to keep the loonies on the path. And there's and if your head explodes with dark forebodings too, I'll see you on the dark side of the moon. So it reminds me of that juxtaposition I was talking about with the us and them. I think the them portion was probably represented by the dark side of the moon. So I think it's kind of like you said, that realization. Like if your head is, present with all these dark thoughts or, experiences as well, then if it's I see you again, that kind of like gives me the image of death. I'll see you again on the dark side of the moon. So now, like, where if the lunatic was outside as a them, I'm becoming like a part of the us.
Mhm.
Is kind of, I guess, because it says you raise the blade, you make the change, you rearrange me till I'm sane. So like kind of, I guess, cutting away at reality.
Yeah.
And then making the change, like embodying the shit, and then you kind of change the whole way I see life. My perspective and everything is now different. So now I'm on the dark side instead of always seeing that white part of it.
Yeah. I can see that.
I don't know.
I can see that. But yeah, all in all, beautiful song. Very, very beautiful. I love how it's where it's at in the whole order of the songs. So,
Oh yeah,
that's Brain Damage. Got one more.
dark side.
All that you touch and all that you see, all that you taste, all you feel, and all that you love and all that you hate, all you distrust, all you save, and all that you give, and all that you deal, and all that you buy, beg, borrow, or steal, and all you create, and all you destroy, and all that you do, and all that you say, and all that you eat, and everyone you meet, and all that you slight, and everyone you fight, and all that is now, and all that is gone, and all that's to come, and everything under the sun is in June, but the sun is eclipsed by the moon.
Eclipse. Great ending. I love how they I love how
That last part.
it ended. The lyrics. This is definitely for when you're going through a trip, man. For sure. It's like at the end, it came all full circle.
Mm-hmm.
It's like in everything that you do, literally everything that you do. You know what I mean?
and all your experiences and all the things that I guess kind of culminate your life.
Everything. It all comes back to you.
Yeah.
But the little micro shit you do, I love how they say, all that you eat,
Mm.
all that
Yeah.
you give,
All that you take in, put out.
it's all you. It's all you.
Wow. Like, that especially that last couple parts and everything under the sun is in tune, but the sun is eclipsed by the moon.
Hmm.
Like all this shit is cohesive. This shit all work together. Every part of that shit is necessary. So whatever emotions or shit that like came attached with those experiences are like necessary. And then I don't know if I didn't hear this part, but in looking at the lyrics on there, it said that the sun is eclipsed by the moon.
I heard that.
But there's like two more. It's like there's no dark side of the moon, really. Matter of fact, it's all dark.
Wow.
So if that being the case, that shit is almost like all that shit. Yeah, it's necessary, but it's a matter of perspective. Like that
Mhm.
shit, none of that shit matter because you think all that shit, and yes, it's this part of it and this part. The moon will never have no light. That hoe
Mm,
all dark, just depending upon the perspective where you at.
definitely.
So, you know what I'm saying? You can dang, it's metaphorically the world. You can feel how you wanna feel about everything.
Mhm.
Truth of the matter is
Mm,
that shit is all perspective, it's all, you know, and I think what is kinda the album's kinda challenging us to do is, one, yes, change your perspective, and then to bridge that disconnect
mm.
where it's like the whole moon black. So there is no them, there's no us. It's just and it's all us. You know what I'm
It's all
saying? It's
us.
all dang.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Damn,
It's an
man.
illusion.
Yeah, this is an incredible album, man. It's and we have been talking a long time about like, uh why nobody covers those topics. We was talking about like
Definitely.
in and maybe it is that some people are, but this is the first time I've ever heard like a full music album that's speaking on the ego death like that.
It's in the music, you know? It's in the music, and at the time of, like, when it came out, it was in the early '70s, you know? Like I told you, during the rise of psychedelics,
Mm.
LSD, um, mushrooms, all that shit.
Mhm.
So motherfuckers tripping balls, tripping crazy, experiencing ego death,
Mhm.
and experiencing exactly what this album is saying. It's very coded, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
you have to know, you
And
have to experience certain places and certain things
Mhm.
about yourself to understand this album.
Yeah.
I mean, to appreciate it.
Yeah. Do you appreciate the
'Cause you can
language of the
understand
album?
it, but to appreciate it for what it is,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that like you said, it's that I guess kinda the beauty and the simplicity of what's being said. So, you
Mhm.
know what I'm saying? Like it's very complex. It's simple on the surface, but it's very like complex. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? The like you said, the setting of that whole like you know, the atmosphere of the album, and then like I said, it becomes full circle. If the what was the first one? What's the first?
The first one is, the first
Let me see. The first one is called "Speak to Me,"
Speak to Me.
so that's almost like a request,
Mhm.
and then that's the "Give Me a Sign."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then at the end of it all, you I feel like every time, I guess the theme for "Give Me a Sign" or something like that is you look to the stars and stuff like that. You
Yeah.
do a lot of looking to the sky, and I guess if the moon is one of the things you see, you take that journey and it's like, well, everything that the album said, and realize that none of that shit mean nothing. It's present whether I'm looking at it or I'm not looking at it.
Mm-hmm. Facts.
So,
But yeah, y'all, great album, man, in its entirety. I love the track list. Love how it was all structured and ordered. In my opinion, one of the best pieces of music I ever heard.
nah, they definitely
Uh,
made me a fan.
We'll do a second listen with headphones on, and we'll do it in its entirety
The one.
at some point this year. So be on the lookout for that. And you have any suggestions,
Any ones, man.
any songs, music, projects that you like us to react to? Let us know.
Something that changed your life. One ones like that. So we
One
can
of those.
experience that.
Appreciate y'all.
Yes, sir.